What's up guys, DK Jones here and welcome to my F1 2023 Championship predictions. I'm finally making this video. We're only a week away from the first race in Bahrain. We're deep into February, and reason for that is I was waiting for testing. I have now seen 2 days of pre-season testing in Bahrain, and that has allowed me to collect my thoughts and lock down a pecking order for these predictions. So without further ado, we're going to go straight into the Constructors Championship predictions. First, starting with the bottom of the Constructors Championship, we've gone for Williams, which is a safe prediction. I don't think the pecking order will change that much this season. I think it's going to be a bit closer though, so here I've gone for Williams in 10th position. In 9th place, I've gone for same as last year as well with AlphaTauri. I don't think I've seen many improvements in testing so far. I don't think they'll have too much of an upgrade, and I think I'll play it safe with this one as well and say 9th place. In 8th place, I've also gone for same as before with Haas F1 team. New driver lineup with Hulkenberg coming in for Mick Schumacher. I think that will help them with experience and maturity there in the midfield. I still think they're going to finish bottom of that midfield battle though, which would not be too bad for them. In 7th is the first change in the Constructors Championship from last season. I'm dropping Alfa Romeo from 6th to 7th. So far they haven't looked as impressive as they did in preseason testing last season, and based off that I think they will not be as good as they were last season. On to 6th place now, and I have McLaren in 6th. So far this preseason testing, it has looked very similar to last season with some reliability problems. So I think the start of this season will be very similar to the start of last season. I think they'll have problems at the start of the season, but I think they will improve throughout the course of the season. In 5th, I have gone for Aston Martin. They seem to be a very ambitious team with Lawrence Stroll at the helm. They had very big improvements towards the end of last season. The pace seemed to have been rivaling that of some of the midfield teams. I think with Fernando Alonso at that team, I think he'll extract the maximum out of that car, and I think they could be right in that midfield battle. And in 4th place, I have gone for the French team, full French team this time, Alpine. Many people are making light of the fact that Ocon and Gasly will be teammates and their history is apparently quite dodgy, but I don't think it will be as rusty as people think it will be. I don't think it's going to be necessarily smooth sailing, but I do think the Haas pairing has the potential to be even spicier than this one, and I think Alpine will be pretty much where they were last season, a bit closer to the top 3 maybe, but in 4th place nonetheless. Now going into the top 3, it's going to be a bit tricky now, seeing as the top 3 teams haven't really shown their hand in testing. Only probably Verstappen in the Red Bull that has been putting in quick laps, but other than that it's very hard to tell. But in 3rd place I have gone for Ferrari, mainly based on the fact that last season they seem to have dropped off towards the end. Mercedes seem to be catching up on them towards the end of the season in terms of pace. They seem to have been dropping off the back of the Red Bull, and I think that may continue at the beginning of this season. So who am I predicting to win the Constructors Championship in 2023? Well, I have gone for Red Bull to win the Constructors Championship. They were untouchable towards the end of last season during preseason testing, or at least the 2 days that I have seen. They have had no problem in terms of reliability. Max has been towards the top in each session, which doesn't mean much, but it does tell you it's at least something that he is at least confident in the machinery that Red Bull have given him, and I think they will win a 2nd Constructors Championship in a row this season. So with the Constructors Championship predictions out of the way, you can probably formulate an idea of what my Drivers' Championship predictions are going to look like. So let's go into these Drivers' Championship predictions. At the bottom of the Drivers' Championship, I have gone for Logan Sargent. First season in Formula 1 with Williams, who I think may be the slowest team, and of course the fact that I do not think he may be as good as his teammate Alex Albon. 19th, I've gone for Yuki Tsunoda. Of course, he's 3rd season in Formula 1, probably the most important season for him. It's probably his last season. He has to prove himself to be good enough to at least drive for Red Bull or even drive for AlphaTauri for another season. I think AlphaTauri won't be as quick as they have been in past years, and I think Yuki Tsunoda may finish down in 19th position. I've gone for Zhou Guanyu in 18th position. I think he will improve from last season in terms of pace. I just don't think he'll be very lucky, just as he was in the 2022 season. I think he'll suffer from maybe reliability problems or crashes, but I don't think he will score as little points as he did last season. Albon in 17th, I think it's going to be another solid season from him in that Williams. His points may go to double figures this season as well. Nick de Vries in 16th, of course he has all the credentials to do well in Formula 1 in the AlphaTauri, which I don't think will be very quick this season. I think 16th will be a very good position for him. Hülkenberg in 15th, I think it will be very close between him and his teammate Kevin Magnussen, who I have right above him in 14th. I think it's going to be very spicy between those two and very hard to manage. In 13th, I've gone for Valtteri Bottas. I think it's going to be another very good season for Valtteri Bottas. I think the Alfa Romeo car is going to be decent. Oscar Piastri in 12th, his first season in Formula 1. I think he'll do decently. I don't think he'll do as well as Lando Norris, but I think it will be a solid first season for him. In 11th, I have gone for Lance Stroll. I think he will finish below Fernando Alonso. I think the Aston Martin car will be much improved and they will be right in that midfield battle with Alpine and McLaren. Into the top half, I've gone for Lando Norris in 10th position. I don't think McLaren will do very well this season. I think they'll have to play a catch up throughout the season, but I do think Lando Norris will have a solid season. Pierre Gasly in P9. Of course, he had a bit of a dip with AlphaTauri last season. I think this Alpine will definitely be better machinery than the AlphaTauri had last season, but I think he'll need some time to gel in with the team, and I don't think he'll be beating Ocon straight away. In P8, I've gone for Fernando Alonso. I think Aston Martin, of course, will improve severely this year, and I think Alonso will extract the maximum out of that Aston Martin. In 7th, I've gone for Esteban Ocon. Very curious though to see if there'll be any side-by-side racing between him and Gasly. Interested to see how that goes. But in terms of my prediction, I think he will be top of the midfield. On to the top guys now, the top 6. We have Carlos Sainz in the Ferrari in 6th place. I don't think Ferrari will be as good at the start of the season as they were at the start of last season, so I think Carlos Sainz will end up at the bottom of the front guys. 5th, I've gone for Lewis Hamilton. He had a horrible start to last season, of course started to improve as the year went on, so I don't think he'll have as bad of a start as he did last season. I think he'll just end up in 5th position. In 4th, I have gone for Charles Leclerc. Of course, Ferrari will look to actually win the championship this season, and I have no doubt that they'll try their best, but I think that their pace may not be as good as it was last season, and Leclerc will have to settle with P4. In P3, I've gone for Checo Perez. Of course, the same position he finished last season. I think he may pick up a few more wins this season, but I don't think it will be enough for P2. Of course, that brings us to the top 2, which then reveals who I'm predicting to win the Drivers' Championship, and that is Max Verstappen. Of course, I mentioned earlier that Red Bull don't seem to have any problems in testing. They seem confident, so I think they'll be really quick this season as well. I'm not sure if he'll break as many records as he did last season. George Russell, on the other hand, I think he'll improve from last season. With a season with Mercedes under his belt, there was a period of time where he seemed to be being outdone by his teammate Lewis Hamilton, so I think it's going to be very close and back and forth between him and Lewis Hamilton, but I think he'll end up at the end of the season pulling away. So those are my championship predictions. Of course, going into the 2023 F1 Championship, I'll be posting weekend previews for every race, so make sure to subscribe for that and leave your season predictions down in the comment section below. And from me, DK Jones, I'll see you next time.